Yo, this is KaeDee,
And this is David.
and we are the KaeDee Exchange, where we exchange music, and as a result, we exchange ideas, bridging the gap between old and new, with all original music produced by. Enjoy. Yo, welcome back. As per usual, the KaeDee exchange number 27. I am KaeDee, one of your hosts, joined by my other co-host, David. David, everything's new. I know it already. You're chilling. You're good out here. What do you normally say? We're out here. We're getting by. We're surviving. You don't even need to say anything. I've said it for you. Look at you. But yeah, anyway.
Well, actually, mate, I was going to say that everything's absolutely awful right now. Like the world is ending. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry. You covered it, man. It's fine.
All good. All right, cool. Yeah. So for returning listeners, thank you very much for tuning back in and for supporting us. You can follow us at the KaeDee Exchange. That's KNDEXCHANGE on Instagram and Twitter. And for those who are new, our format, we are a weekly music review show. What we do is we exchange an album each week. So one week I will give David an album to listen to, which I am familiar with, but which he has never listened to before. And the following week, it will be reversed. He'll give me an album he's very familiar with, one that I have never heard before, in an attempt to bridge the gap between tastes, opinions, backgrounds, life experience, all that sort of shit. Because we're coming in automatically off the bat to completely different perspectives. One of familiarity, one of purely coming in just fresh off the bat. So, exchange number 27. What album, David, did I give to you to listen to?
You gave me Haviah Mighty's album. It's called The 13th Floor, and it was released in May 2019. So a relatively new album.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. This one was really good. It was a pleasant listen. I just want to know, like, how did you come about this album?
I was literally just thinking about that right now. I was thinking, how did I come across this album? Because when you said it came out in May 2019, I was thinking, okay, I definitely listened to it in 2019 because I remember where I was. Well, I remember where I was commuting to, but but that was clear as day. But I'm trying to remember how I came across it, and I think I have this feeling I came across it on a blog somewhere, and maybe it was just on a music hunt or a music search, and just seeing. I was younger. I remember 2009. Funny enough, so 10 years prior to I went online and looked up the best hip hop albums of that year, or just the best hip hop albums, and it came up with a list of best hip hop albums of 2009, and that's when I found out about like Black Milk and Elzai and all these kind of more underground acts, and even like Lupe and stuff. I didn't realize that they had albums to their name. I just thought Lupe was this guy who featured on the Kanye song, and I didn't know that he had his own album and people actually liked it. So that kind of, you're young and you don't think of it like that. You just think there's a select few artists and everyone else are just features. But I think I just tried to do the same in 2019. I thought, okay, I wonder what will come up. That just doesn't come up on my radar on some of these lists. And she was one of the few kind of unique placements on this blog that I was reading. Because a lot of the time these lists, they go for popularity. So you'll find a top 20 list of 2021. It will just be most of the albums that just got released this year. Do you know what I mean? It won't be any kind of critical analysis or kind of yeah, this album's great. This album definitely must listen to. It will just be all the albums that came out just compiled into a list, and you're just like, okay, great. I kind of want a little bit of gatekeeping so I know what I'm getting into, because there's so much music out there. And I think the artwork brought me in, and the description that they put for the album and what it was. And I just got I don't know, I just got this vibe from it. I was like, you know what, fuck that. Okay, I'm in the mood for something different. I'm going to try it. And yeah, I was just really pulled in by her skill, the beats, just the kind of concept, the kind of clear intention. You can tell that she's an album artist, and that's up my alley. And yeah, I was really, really into it. I gave it another listen before we started this, just to remind myself, and still sounds fresh to me. I haven't been listening to it as much recently as I did when I first heard it. But yeah, so what I'm interested to hear how you felt, what you thought going into this, how you feel now at the beginning, or whatever. So go in.
Yeah, man, it was a
I walked past her once as well at a gig.
Oh yeah, I remember. Did you say that on the last episode? Yeah.
I might have. Yeah, I mentioned Duckworth. Yeah, it was at his gig. She was the opening act. Yeah, I always remember that now when I hear her voice. I just couldn't believe I recognized her, because she's not like that big. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's something that I wanted to ask actually. How big is she? Because it seems that she's still got her integrity, so she must be quite like small still.
Yeah, I think she's on that. She's like on this independent level where it's, she's still getting good features. Like she's doing, like, she's putting out tunes and doing gigs and stuff, but she's not being featured on big mainstream stuff or anything like that at the moment. Yeah, she's like I don't know. I don't even know what level you could say she's at. She's like, I reckon other rappers know about her.
Yeah,
just from being in the scene, you know what I mean?
I get the impression she's got a bigger rep than maybe her sort of commercial reach, if that makes sense. So all the big commercial. Like yeah. I think people in the know will know of her. She's man, she's a firecracker. I can definitely sort of vibes with the sort of raw, aggressive nature of her rapping. The thing is, I like it, but there's just a barrier, and I think maybe because she's a new artist to me, but there's something that I didn't 100% connect with, and maybe I think as a result of that, I've missed out on some of the genius of this album, because I got to the end of the album and I made all my notes and all that, and then I was looking back through it and I thought nothing of it. And just as I've been talking to you or listening to you just now, I've seen something even in the title of the album, and I'm like, oh my goodness, how have I not seen this already? And what did
you see in the title of the album?
Yeah, the 13th Floor. And I was and it ties into the song, like track number 5, and you're like, oh my goodness. And it tracks, and it also sort of tacks onto the very last few words of the album itself. There are levels here.
I was about to say, or even the fact that you said there's levels here. If it's the 13th floor and you're moving up to the 13th level, which is in itself unlucky because it's 13, but then it speaks to the whole systematic oppression of, the 13th Amendment and all that sort of shit.
There you go. Yeah.
Ironically, is also the 13th Amendment, which is the unlucky number. I mean, what's the chances of that?
Yeah.
And there's just layers to it, she's very unlucky because she's, a black woman in America. She's not just black, she's also a woman.
Exactly.
And, in a very competing industry as well, which is male dominated, and a world that is male dominated, white male dominated. And she is literally on the 13th floor.
Yeah.
Even in the first song, when she's talking about in women color, instead of In Living Color, it's like, you know, she's talking about being abused by like her partner or something like that, or being beaten or whatever. You know, she's already, even if it's a black guy, it's even in her own, by her own people. It's like, you know, she's like the lowest of the low.
Exactly.
So the hierarchy of things. And I've just only put that together now that you said that.
Yeah, no, it's quite funny because, you know, she's proud of her dark skin. She's, you know, she highlights colorism in this very first song, in Women Color. And the first thing that grabs me, not so much the lyricism, because she's obviously a very, very good lyricist, but it's very much the way in which she's very, very dynamic. Her tone just captures you like absolutely immediately. And this is also a brave thing. So I like music that changes. I like music that once a song starts, it doesn't end how it started. I like that. Or if it does end how it started, I like to have gone through a journey in the middle, you know, typical middle eight sort of thing. Jamiroquai are masters of that kind of stuff, right? With this, I couldn't believe that like within one song, it could switch up like twice. So you end up with a song broken up into 3/3, and you've got 3 different moods, 3 different styles of rap, 3 different subject matters, and it's very, very like deep, like especially with this. For me, my attention is always brought to the colorism sort of piece because she's rapping from a perspective that I won't be able to identify with as a black dude. You know, she's a black lady, and you know, the chips are against her. I just feel that, you know, with the dynamism and the rawness of her delivery, she just comes across as super confident, but it's something that she's had to build from all of those horrible instances that she's had to deal with, you know. You know, and here we go. So I've written a little bit of a paragraph. So in this song, it discussed colorism, violence toward women, pride, especially when she says little N-word couldn't break me. She talks about strength. She talks about overcoming barriers. She talks about her absentee father. She talks about feeling of worthlessness and then overcoming those feelings of worthlessness. This is a 3-minute song. And I'm rooting for Haviah Mighty right now. I'm like, yep, cool. I'm in. Okay. I'm
That's
listening.
How I felt, yeah. That's how I felt.
I think it's a very brave thing that she's done, actually. I really think it's a brave song. And it's, you basically want I'm finding it really hard to like think today. Basically, as a quick aside, I have had, I think, 5 meetings today that have lasted over an hour each. So I am talked out.
Yeah.
And it's like 8:30.
You can hear it in your voice.
Yeah, man, it's 8:30 and I'm still working. Like, I'm knackered. But anyway, outside of that, it's all right. We don't bring outside stuff into. Sorry, I just had to say that because people are like, "Why is this guy sounding like he's?" Man. Yeah, man. Why is he sounding like he's asleep? And that's why work is kicking my ass. Yeah. But anyway, right? Yeah. Levels. All right, levels.
Levels.
Song 2 is Waves. So in this song in particular, I found that this lady reminded me of Anderson .Paak. She's the female version of Anderson .Paak, just in some of the inflections in her voice and the way that she delivers some of the words. I was like, oh, like I could.
Interesting.
I just got flecks of it. I'm not saying she sounds exactly like him. I'm just saying that there were little things that reminded me of Anderson. I was like, oh wow, okay, cool. Yeah. But you know, this song is featuring Sean Leon. It's just only on a couple of words. I couldn't tell you what they are, but I've heard like each song's like really, really like different, and it sounds so accomplished. That's something that I really wanted to touch on. The production value throughout this album.
Oh yeah, so good.
It's really good. However, I do have a couple of moans later on, but I suppose if you're flexing, right? Like it doesn't really matter. I mean, like it's a good album. You know, I'll tell. Spoiler alert for the end. It's a good album. There are things that there's just something that I can't. when I'll just talk about it now. Like when I'm thinking about like female artists that grab me immediately, Lauryn Hill's one of them, Rhapsody's another.
Okay.
And now I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
so what is it that they have that Haviah doesn't? And I don't know what that is. Like, why is it I relate so well with them? Is it the tone of voice? Is it the way in which they deliver and rap and stuff? Is it just a sort of an understanding that I have with the way that they present their music? I don't know. Like, so
Cool.
what is stopping me from loving Haviah Mighty? And that's something I've been really, really wrestling with. Like this whole week, I'm like, I like it. Why don't I love it? And maybe it's that age-old thing, man. Maybe I need time with it. Maybe I need to listen to it in 6 months and be like, oh man, this is a banger.
Yeah.
Because off air, I was saying that like maybe in the future I'll give KaeDee a Prodigy album called "The Day Is My Enemy." Now, when that album came out in, I think 2016, when that came out in 2016, I hated it. I absolutely hated that album. I was like, this isn't Prodigy at all. Years later, I cannot stop listening to it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
I think it's brilliant, and we will do it at some stage. It's an absolute banger of an album.
Nice.
But I'm hoping maybe Haviah Mighty just needs a bit of time. You know, it's like that Inception thing. You know, the idea's been planted. I just need time for that idea to grow and manifest, etc.
That's interesting. Just thinking about that now. I feel like Haviah is like what would you call it? Her style and her delivery and the production that she's over is almost like I would say in my head, the way I'm seeing it, I know it's not just a black and white straight line kind of between if we're focusing mainly on MCs who are females, you have the kind of, how would you call them? There's different types, you know. So you have someone like Lauryn Hill and Rhapsody and whoever else. You can put them in a kind of group together. You could put Nicki Minaj, Megan Thee Stallion, and KaeDee B and whoever else, those guys into another kind of box. I was waiting for that. You could put those into another box, and then there's other types like Snow the Product, people like that who are just like. And what was her name? Oh,
Love the Genius. She's sick. Love
the Genius. I just literally remembered now another one I remember she had a couple tunes I used to love back in the day, but she's like disappeared off the face of the planet now. I can't remember who she is. Oh, and I remember what she looks like. I need to find out who she is afterwards. But
Black lady, white lady,
black lady. She fits. She probably fits more into a box with Haviah. Although Haviah to me is like lyrically and content wise and kind of her rawness and stuff. She can hang with Rhapsody, Lauryn Hill, people like that.
Absolutely right.
Yeah, but her delivery, the way she is, and her vocal kind of style, she sounds like, to me, if you took the kind of sharpness and the kind of real pristine vocal production that people like Nicki Minaj and Megan Thee Stallion have over those kind of beats, but then you add in the deeper lyrical content, you add in the kind of more beefed up production value where it's not just kind of fun turn up beats and them kind of, you know, doing their party stuff, which they're great at. Imagine taking that format but beefing it up, making the production a bit more, you know, I don't know, deeper, more layers to it, switching it up every now and then, but then having that kind of flow and that kind of attack and that pristine vocal mixing and everything, but with deeper lyrical content and you know, more rhyme patterns, more flow patterns. Haviah kind of fits into that. So she's like, because some of these beats, like they're like, they could hang in the mainstream, I think, you know. It's very, I'd say the beats they're not like off-putting. They're not like, oh, this sounds too old school. Oh, this sounds too old school, or this sounds too, I don't know, what's it called? Like City Girls type, where it's like club music for girls. It's not like that. I think anyone can get into this. It's just the production will pull you in regardless.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if it's that mix. I wonder if she's just in a different box on her own, or with a different
Mm,
set of MCs. That maybe, I think what happens, especially with, because even though now when we talk about female rappers, it's more normal now to just have, like, you could name your top 10 MCs now currently, and they could all be females. That, there's not like a lack of them anymore, if that
hmm
makes sense, even in the
hmm
public eye. Um, but I think that our collective conscious regarding female MCs, of what's like a good quality female artist in hip hop, are people like Lauryn Hill and Rhapsody, and during a certain extent, Nicki Minaj, because of her commercial dominance and the fact that she could rap. Do you know what I mean? Like, she was still able
Yeah.
to tear it down. But but for the purists, it's like Lauryn Hill, Rhapsody. They don't want to. Nicki Minaj has the Lil Wayne effect, where the purists don't want to admit that she can actually rap because of the type of music she makes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is
I
Lil Wayne
yeah.
went through the same thing. The purists kind of didn't want to admit, this guy could actually rap though. I just don't like the songs that he's on. I don't want to admit it because Lil Wayne's he's this guy that I, as a backpacker, as an underground guy, I should hate him. But I hear this all the time from people back in the day. Like, they love Lil Wayne now, but when he was at the top of his game, it was like they didn't want to admit that they were into
So I've
his.
gone. Yeah, like personally, it's interesting that you say that, bro. Because personally, I've gone the other way on Little Wayne. Was
Oh,
went in big back in the day. I was
mm-hmm.
a huge fan.
Oh,
Like Wayne circa what, like 2005 to about
mm.
20, I'd say 2011, 2012. I was
Yeah.
huge,
He
massive
fell
fan.
off for me then as well.
And I've never gone back. I'm like, I don't care. He was good, but
Yeah,
I've heard some stuff recently. Well, kind of gone back to his more recent stuff, and I'm like, no, like the illusion's now broken. I'm like, nah.
sure.
So I've gone the other way. I recognise that there's talent there. Obviously, there is. He
Yeah,
hung with the best of them, but nah, fuck it. Like I've only got like only a little bit of time now for the sort of non sequitur kind of
oh yeah,
nonsensical kind of like
sure.
rhyme schemes and stuff. I'm like, that was
Yeah,
cool for a time to do
yeah.
that, but like, no, I kind of need, I like to kind of unpick or unpack a
You're in a
box
kind
of
of
lyrics.
substance.
Yeah, that's where I'm at in my life now. Like, I
Yeah, yeah,
think,
yeah, yeah.
so which is why I
Sure.
love, Royce the 5'9", for example, is a master
Mm-hmm.
of packing a theme within a theme within a theme. He's
Yeah, yeah,
so good at that,
yeah.
double,
Mm-hmm.
triple, quadruple entendres, and you're like, hang on a minute,
Mm.
how have you done that, and how do you do that? So so I fully enjoy that. But yeah, I see what you're
Yeah,
saying. I mean,
yeah.
maybe
So
she
with
does deserve to
maybe,
be.
yeah. Mm.
Maybe Javier does deserve to be in her own box, so to speak, and maybe it's a
Yeah,
box that I need to get used to. I think
yeah. I think
maybe I
I
need to sit
I
with it.
think that's what it is. I reckon collectively, a lot of people still, our benchmark is like Lauryn Hill, and to a recent extent, Rhapsody. Um, I think that maybe now when people think of female MCs, they lump in there. I think it always goes through this. Like, I think it happened with hip hop in general, where it's like it's all just gangster rap. It's all just aggressive music about crime and gangbanging and all that stuff. When it's like, it's only after time people actually started to come to understand that there was more nuance and more depth and more variety to the genre than just that they were seeing. I reckon in the female rap scene is kind of a microcosm of that. People
Mm.
are still locked into kind of what it used to be, or what it should be, and not what it actually is. So someone like Haviah Mighty might have a hard time pushing past that stereotype, I guess. I don't know. But maybe again, and it could just be time, like you were saying.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. Listen, no doubting the talent.
Yeah, for
You're
sure.
not you're not going to have like a hater here. You just got to recognize. I think, to be honest, the more that I think about it, the more I think that being an artist of any form is giving
Mm,
yourself to vulnerability. And I think that
100%.
whenever a rapper, whenever an artist, singer, band, whatever, whenever they put themselves out there, I think that it is a wonderfully brave thing to do. And especially on an album like this, where it's my first time listening to her.
Yeah, exactly.
And for her to just smack me in the face with the first song, with how much there are layers to them. Like, we could do a podcast just on the first song alone, and just take it line by line. And I think that a lot of the songs here, I think that you could do that with a lot of the songs. I find that there are other distractions though.
Sure.
Which is, track number 3, for example, Wishy Washy featuring Omega Mighty.
I just realized that they have the same surname.
Yep.
Yeah, that's probably why she sounds. I just thought it was her doing the hook. That's probably why.
So, I mean, it's commercial as hell, and it just sucked me out of it. It was something. It reminded me of like an Ed Sheeran type beat, and I just could not shake it. Couldn't shake it. I've listened to this album, I think, 2 or 3 times or more. Actually, I skipped this song. I was
going to say, does it suck you out of it every time?
Every time. I just cannot do it.
Yeah, first time I listened, it did the same thing to me, and the first 2 songs instantly kind of more along those lines throughout. Why did we have to go this direction, or at least put it closer towards the end of the album? But I don't know. I guess more recently I warmed up to that. I think a bit quicker than you did.
Well, I think this is an instance of Haviah Mighty being pretty flipping clever, because I think that the term, I think that what she's singing about is like the inconsistencies of people, like being wishy-washy, right? And I think that she's given this wishy-washy subject a wishy-washy tune. This is disposable music, basically. And I think that it's kind of a, maybe I'm giving her too much credence, and I hope I'm not, but I think maybe
meta.
this,
So you think it's like a kind of meta analysis on the subject?
I think so. I think it's, I'm hoping that it's a sort of expose on the kind of throwaway nature of modern day culture. I think, and I'm hoping that's what she's going for. And also the inconsistencies of people in general at the moment. Like, nobody's flipping. I mean, no one's anything really anymore. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Because if you say to somebody, I'm single and, I like to date women. Yeah. And then all of a sudden somebody will throw an argument at you. Well, would you date a trans woman? It's like, well, no, it's not my my preference. Oh my God, you're a transphobe. No, I'm not. I just have my preferences. Do you know what I mean? Right, so it's like nobody can be anything anymore because you just get shouted down for it. And I do think that Wishy Washy kind of taps into that. And I think you're right. It's a bit meta. However, I can leave this tune in the bin. The music kind of reflects the subject matter, or the title of the song reflects the music for me. So I'm hoping that it's a meta thing. Track number 4 is... Oh yeah, go on. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, I reckon I warmed to it as well, because you've been given like a week to listen to this, for like a structured analysis on the podcast. Whereas when I listened to it, and also it hasn't been the most summery week that we've had in the UK. It has been an up and down. It wasn't like the heat wave we had a couple weeks ago.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So I think when I first heard this, I had so much time to listen to this during work, on the way to work, on the way home from work, in the car, wherever. And these songs would come up. And that summer, I remember it being consistently good weather a lot of the time.
Cool.
And I think some of those songs on here kind of maybe just fit the vibe nicely for me. And so that's why I warmed up to it a bit more. Because when I first heard this, I think I heard it at night at home in my bedroom. And I remember thinking, I tuned out at this song thinking, why is it always that they have to, is it just like a a thing that rappers do, or female rappers, that it's like they're told that they have to put in one of these singy songs and, you know, one of these commercial type songs. Why is it always like that? But then it actually started to, the more I lived with it, it started to really warm up on me. To be fair though, it's not one that stands out. Do you know what I mean? Like, even listening back to it today, I was like, oh yeah, this song. Surprised that I knew it was coming, but it was like, oh yeah, shit, I forgot about this. Yeah, it's nice. You know what I mean? Nothing like, yo, this is my favorite shit ever. It's just action value though. I still think that it takes that mainstream sound, but there's still, I don't know, it's a bit beefier, it's a bit more weightier. There's different small change ups in the music and things like that. And, you know, I don't think she's compromising on her verses or anything like that. And, you know, again, as an independent artist perspective, it could be a kind of, okay, I've gone in deep on the first two songs. I don't want to lose my kind of fickle audience potentially. But obviously we know from like discussing like Kofi Stone and people like that you can also, you know, trust your audience, and actually they'll reward you for it, you know, by not showing all your cards straight away. But I'm not mad at it. I can, you know, I'm good with it personally.
And also Ian Kelly, that's another one.
And Ian Kelly, sorry, as well. Yeah.
I went back to that album the other day.
What a guy.
Kelsey, it's phenomenal. It's so good. It feels like so long ago since we did that, by the way. Flipping was.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? It was just earlier this year.
It feels like years ago, but anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like you showed it to me at work, but you didn't.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Mad times.
Anyways.
let's not talk about that.
Yeah. This is like a running theme within the podcast, isn't it? It's like, I wonder where these guys worked. What is this place they keep?
We will never tell you because they don't need the advertising.
No, they don't. None of the people. Nah.
Mind you, do you still speak to anyone from there?
Yeah, a handful of people. But only,
fair enough.
You know, but you know, you can probably guess who they are.
That's the thing. There's only one that I talk to.
Yeah.
And she's a flipping legend.
Yeah, she is. 100%. She knows who we're talking. She knows who she is.
Yeah, man. I hope she's listening. Hope you're well, you legend.
100%.
Right.
Anyway.
Track number 4.
Blame.
So this is more like it, isn't it? The fast flow element to her rapping is, she's tough, isn't she? Mm-hmm. I just get the impression that she's not a tall lady. She's like,
she walked past me.
If she's anybody out of the cast of Fellowship of the Ring, she's like the dwarf, like Gimli. Like, she's just tough and just ready to fight and action, like, right away. She ain't, you know, her tone she's not like airy fairy. She ain't no Legolas or nothing. She's not like no Aragorn or nothing. She is down in the weeds. She's down in the mud, ready to just fight. And it doesn't matter the odds. We're going to fight. We're going to give it our all, because that's what this life is about. It's a fight. And I think that she's fought from all of her crap from the first song and all of her life up to this point. And she's just now just bragging just how awesome she is. I mean, when she says, I'm the remedy of any melody, identify that I'm a genuine rarity. I mean, that is this lady in a nutshell right there. Boom. In your face.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful.
When I saw her live, that's exactly your whole thought process there. That's very close to how I felt, because she's not tall. When I walked her, she's about as tall as my partner, who's not very tall at all. She's very short.
Oh, really?
But when she get up, comes up to maybe my chest, essentially.
Blimey.
So I'm about 5'11", I think.
Oh yeah, you are taller than me. Yeah.
Just coming up to my chest, and but when she was on stage, that doesn't mean anything though, because when she was on stage,
not at all.
She tore that shit down. She sounds like how she does on the album, but not with a vocal backing track. Like you can hear her breath, and you hear her running out of breath and stuff. So you knew it was her. You know, she would pull the mic away at certain points. There'd be no vocal backing, like track in the background. She was just on it. Unless it's like the chorus or something, that's standard. Yeah, man, she's on it, man. She tore it down, man. I'm sure there were people there that did not know who she was, and they were on it. Like, she really pulled them in.
Well, that's the power of live music. That's why I love it. That's why I will always listen. That's why I'll always prefer like a band playing over a backing track. You know, having played in many stages myself, like I think it's one of the best things that you can do as a human being is go to live music, because you just get on the vibe. Yeah. You can. 100%. I've seen so many bands that I've, you know, supporting big artists that I've, you know, not heard of again, but at the time of listening, you're just like, what a mercy, you guys are sick. No? And it's just, it's brilliant. And even with rappers or, you know, even singers. I remember when we went to see Usher, this back in the day, but Jamelia was the first time I'd ever heard of Jamelia. She was cool, man. She was good. I was like, all right, sweet. And then,
right, do your thing,
do your thing. Like if Jamelia can sort of like pull you in at a live performance, then it just goes to show the power of music. And the fact is, when you're confronted with a vibe, you just get, we are, you know, attracted to that. Something within us is attracted to live music and actually being in the moment, because you do, you know, it's one of the few times I think in life where you are literally present for every single second that you are enjoying. You can't sort of take your eyes out of it or take your like mind out of it. You're in, and I think
that's true, actually.
It's a wonderful experience, and it's where the seconds, basically, even if you're playing the music, you're just like, right, I need to get like the notes right or whatever, and then sometimes you get to this point, maybe it's like a nirvana sort of state or a state of complete zen, but you get to a point where you are playing the notes with your hands, but you just close your eyes and you just listen to the music, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm helping put that out there. And then you're just all of a sudden just sort of somewhere else, just in the vibe, you know? So yeah, definitely. I can see how people would get on board with Haviah Mighty. She's...
Yeah, because you kind of feel her energy when you're there. I remember everything you just said there. I was about to bring it up as well, because I remember when I was studying philosophy, we would talk about art and the significance of art and why it was important, and how good art takes you out of yourself. And I can't remember the full description of it, but I remember giving that example during one of our seminars when they asked, like, oh, has anyone had this experience before, of like being taken out of themselves through a piece of art and kind of seeing themselves almost separate from themselves, if that makes sense. So you kind of see your own humanity and your own human condition through someone else's lens, and you see kind of all of it. And I was like, yeah, when I go to like gigs and concerts and stuff like that, like really good ones that really pull me in, it's almost like I forget who I am for a second. I'm just part of the music. I'm part of the crowd. Everyone in the crowd is almost like one. It's a really strange feeling that I only realize looking back on it. And when you're on the other side, when you're on stage doing it, I've experienced what you're talking about, where it's like I'm observing myself on stage doing what I'm doing. I'm not really there, but I am. It's weird. It's like and I don't know if it's an anxiety response to like the nerves and stuff of kind of having to go on there, that nervous energy, and then when you do it, you get the adrenaline rush, and that's your brain's way of saying, okay, I'm going to take you out of this situation for your own protection and just put you on autopilot. So I'm just going to feed you the words, get you through the set. That's how it felt the first time that I did like a big show like that. And then the next time it's like, okay, I know that's going to happen. Because of that, I can now exert some control. It's less of a panic response, which I'm glad is there, you know. It's more like, okay, I know I'm going to feel this adrenaline rush. I know my body's going to kind of take me out and put me on autopilot. Okay, now that I know that's going to happen, let's add a bit more control into it. Let's add a bit more to the performance now, because everything else is on lock. I'm going to move around the stage. The words are going to come. Don't focus on those things, because once you start focusing on those things, that's when you slip up. When you're trying to think of every word that's going to come next, probably the same for playing an instrument. If you're going to think of every single bit that's going to come next, you need to get yourself, as MJ would say, you need to get yourself out of the way of the music.
That's
you
correct.
Need to not think. And that's really important. You don't think when you're doing it. You're a channel. You're letting it happen. You're letting it flow through you.
Yeah.
And you legit feel that. I can't describe it to people. It's like I'm there,
but I'm not.
I'm not. But I am, because I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it all happen, and I'm almost like, fuck, this is actually happening right now. Like, I'm just saying all these words, and then I'm like, okay, don't think too much, because once you start thinking and bring yourself back,
that's the killer. That's the killer. I've played shows where I've not been like ready, and I know I'm not ready, and I'm like, fuck, this is going to be awful. And then as soon as you think that, you are fucked. I've played some absolute duds of shows, but then on the flip side, I've played shows that are just lit, where I've not missed a single note. And to blow my own trumpet, I suppose somebody's got to, especially in this family, like bottom of the food chain, mate. Absolutely bottom of the food chain over here. But no, I mean, I used to play hundreds and hundreds of notes per set. I mean, hundreds. I remember there was this one gig. I'd always mess up. Say less than 10 times, which I think is not a bad. I think that's maybe 0.2% of the notes that I play. So I think that's all right. Or played, sorry.
Yeah.
But I remember this one show that I played. I did not. It was at the Chili at the Hootenanny in Brixton, and I didn't miss a single note. And the crowd would hear one chorus in the song, and then by the second chorus, they're singing it again. And it's just they're singing it back to us. And it was just a moment where I was just like, right, I'm going to jump around and be an absolute nutcase on stage. And it was just probably one of the best gigs I've ever played. And I just let my brain go, because the sound was like my guitar sounded. It sounded the best it's ever sounded. And my goodness me, and you just vibed, and then people pick up on that vibe, and then together there's a weird synergy between those making the music and those listening to it and absorbing it. There comes this synergy where you just meet in the middle, and you're like, we are all people, and you know what, the ills of the world just fade away, and that's the gift of music.
100%, man. 100%. Do you have footage of your performances?
I don't have. I've got footage actually of one of the worst gigs of my life, right? And I think it was at a place in King's Cross called the Water Rats, and it was with a singer that was really shit. But also, I was shit at guitar at that point. Like, when I say shit at the guitar, I wasn't as confident as I am now. Like, at all. I wasn't. Now I haven't really played a guitar in ages. I know for a fact if I get an electric with my effects pedal board and stuff, I'm just going to tear it down like I used to. It's just in me now. But I remember at the time I was like way more nervous, way more unsure of myself, and it's just the worst thing ever. But I kept it. I purposely didn't delete it, because I think it's important to just remember those. You're not going to be shit hot all the time. We're human, man. Like, and 100%. I keep it as a bit of an ego check. When I think I'm getting too big for my boots, just like, well, remember where you come from. This was you once, and I can maybe last 3 seconds into that video. I have to shut it off. But,
I have shows like that as well where I can't watch them. But I have them still, and I see them, and I'm just like, okay, you were there. That's you at one point. So don't get too gassed, Yeah. And it won't always be like that, because if you keep watching this video, if you don't want any more videos like this, you know what you have to do. Put your best foot forward. Don't get complacent.
Well, yeah, there's that, and there's also growth as well. Like, what you thought was okay and acceptable and stuff, you look back and you're like, meh, no, that didn't work then. It didn't feel good then. Let's adapt, move on, 100%. And evolve. 100%. And that's the beauty, right? Like, I'm sure the Rolling Stones themselves, as accomplished as they are, I'm sure they've played like some absolute shit, because they've been, they've been peeled off their nuts on drugs and shit. Who knows, man? But I think it's a really humbling experience, especially when you've got a crowd full of people that know you and like you and is invested in you in as a person, and they're like, yeah, shit, I wouldn't have done that if I was you.
Right, yeah. They're not even musicians, and you're like, ugh.
Yeah, and you're just like, right, I now want to go and kill myself. I'm just going to go outside, and yeah, man, end it. But
Yeah.
anyway,
What was that noise?
That was a firework.
Damn, who's laying off fireworks? For what reason?
Do you know what? I don't know, man. So the other day, it was about 4 PM on a Saturday afternoon, and they were letting off fireworks. I was just like, I live next to some fucking reprobates. Anyway, right, track number 5, 13.
Yeah.
So yeah, immediately I was like, wait, 13th Amendment, because that's what we spoke about last week.
Right, yeah.
And so she talks about, this is a deep song that, again, it's an essay in its own self. Oh boy. So there's a lot of imagery to unpick in this one, but essentially she outlines the imbalance of power when it comes to slavery. She outlines the sort of psychosis inflicted upon the slaves. And then she shows you how that trauma has been passed down through generations, through like you got to read. You're not going to read because you can't be too clever, but then they're not even making education free anymore these days. So they're kind of encouraging, they're saying that the 13th Amendment, slavery was abolished, but there was a different kind of slavery placed upon people. And we're seeing slavery like in this day and age. People working meaningless jobs, right? Like, we're economic slaves, and we absolutely are. But yeah, just as a quick aside, one of my favorite things is in a zombie apocalypse, if your job title has more than one word, you are useless.
That's most of us then, isn't it?
So I was just thinking, compliance officer. Shit. You know what I mean? Because when you think about it, like driver, that might be useful in an apocalypse. I don't know how useful, considering the roads might just pile up. But doctor, nurse, paramedic,
doctor,
soldier, fireman.
Soldier, yeah.
You know what I mean? Policeman. They're not going to be. They might have like access to a weapons cache or something like that. So that would be cool. Right, you get some batons, you get some riot shields, get some riot gear, you'll be all right. We
need some business analysts up there, don't we?
Well, making trade agreements with other people. No, they just come around and knife you in the night, man.
What if they're just called analysts? Then what?
Just analysing the cost benefits.
Just analyse the situation as it comes. And tell you what.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah, but I'm just thinking that. Yeah. Anyway,
any time for that. Yeah.
Sorry. To go right. Anyway, back to Thingamabob.
13.
Yeah, 13. Right. So I like the fact that she legitimizes her right to rap through her educating herself about her history, and she's saying that women, in particular women of color or black women, have been a sort of class of person that has been subjugated, and basically it's actually black women that hold the power to actually make real change throughout society. And I think that Haviah really has bought into that idea, and it comes through in her delivery. It is unerring. It is completely it's not unsympathetic. What's the word? It's unabashed. It's uncompromising. That's the word. This is a woman that is just not to be fucked with at all. And I think this song, this is the best song so far. It might be the best song on the album for me, only because of the levels in it. And I recommend people to listen to this one in particular. And I've done a really poor job of summarizing just the levels of like detail in this song. But well, I know we're going to tangent off in a couple of minutes anyway. Track number 6, Smoke.
Yeah.
So this is good. She's got elements of young Busta Rhymes. The reason I say that is because of the kind of off-key kind of deliveries at some point in the way that she presents her vocals to the beat. I like the beat at the start, and then it changes into some dancey kind of weird shit, and then it switches back, doesn't it? And comes into something else, and so it becomes darker. And this song is featuring Claremont II, and in the second part, like Claremont starts rapping, and he sounds all right, he sounds cool. But then I love the way that Haviah Mighty comes back in, and she's just like, "Nah, mate, enough of your shit. It's my album."
I'm the MC. Yeah, I've got this.
She dominates, like absolutely dominates. And she's very, very forthcoming, isn't she? Oh my goodness, I couldn't believe it. And it just shows like her energy levels and also her skills as an MC as well. And I just love the fact that she says that no one wants the smoke, and it's like, I don't think anybody would want to go up against this lady.
No, I wouldn't.
I'm not.
No, I refuse.
I wouldn't go up against her. Do you know what? I would. I don't even know if I'd have the guts to go and say hello. Just be like,
yeah.
Just look at her and breathe heavily.
In case you say the wrong thing.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
I like your album. What, you just like my album? That's it. It's like, no, I meant one of those things. Like, what, just good?
Yeah, man. Scary. But yeah, and then track number 7 is You Don't Love Me. Sounds very much like Rihanna.
Is that a good or a bad thing?
Yeah, it's commercial. It's all right.
Like it.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just waving at my wife.
Okay. Gotta do that every now and then.
I didn't realise that this woman could sing.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's got some nice chops.
She does. She's all right. I'm glad that there's not a lot of it. But then it goes into a very Eurocentric sort of beat, like Mexican, Spanish kind of thing that happens to it.
What, on You Don't Love Me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's very sort of like, that kind of beat. And I'm like, nah, I don't like it that much.
I think she sounds so good on it, to be fair.
Yeah. I mean, it's just personal taste, isn't it, mate?
Yeah.
That's just what it is. When it comes to track number 8, Fugazi, this is more like it. I say, what is Fugazi? I haven't even researched it. Fugazi, fucking hell, whatever. It sounds like a new country.
No, it's when you, let me look up the actual real term, but it's like, I hear it in lyrics all the time. It's like, they're acting Fugazi. It's like, they're being like stupid or something. Like, they're acting fake. That's it. Fake or damage beyond repair. That's the slang term for it, apparently.
Oh, right. Okay, cool.
So if someone's Fugazi, they're fake. Yeah, these boys acting Fugazi. Yeah, I hear it all the time. I hear it a lot.
I quite liked it, to be honest. It was
nice drum work.
I like the angst of it as well. I think it's very good. Track number 9, Squidard Squad. I mean, I just put it's the mantra of the tune. Really, you don't want to mess with the squad. It's a very manly in tune, tone, and subject, I think. And I've just put she's proper fierce. Like, I like how the fact is, like, in the first half of the song, you're like, she's like, nah, you ain't fucking with my squad. Like, you ain't fucking with my squad. And then in the second half, it's more.
I love the beat switch.
The beat switch, yeah. And
so nice.
I say that it's more like it. Like, I absolutely love it. And I think she's an artist that, how you can get like artists that are just, regardless of the tune, right? So even if the tune is an absolute state and it's a hot mess, they still sound good.
100%.
I think she's one of those artists that suffers when a tune doesn't necessarily go her way. Like and the reason I say that is because, like, with regards to, say, the first half, I'm not saying that it's shit or anything like that, but with some of the songs we've spoken about so far, I'm like, I don't really like where this is going. However, when she's got a good tune behind her, she's excellent at just pulling more out of herself, basically.
Sure. Okay.
And I do like one of my favourite lines in this song is "No Aryan blood, no alien blood." I don't know why.
Yeah.
Like
same.
Just like
I always pick out that one.
It's like, you're so funny.
Squad is probably my favourite song on the whole album, I think.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I just love that one in particular.
Track number 10.
Oh my,
this is good.
Yeah,
it's really weird. She's got this weird dichotomy. Like, I didn't really vibe with, say, the lyrics or anything like that in this song. What I found is that the verses sounded really new. However, the choruses sounded like quite 90s in their sort of they sounded almost like it reminded me of that girl group called Total back in the day.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Like, I just think that she does pay homage to certain eras of music throughout this album, and I think it's not like overt. It's not like with Pop Smoke and 50 Cent, for example, where it was just 50 Cent sauce just whipping out his dick and just spraying sauce flipping everywhere. Like, it's disgusting.
Right, okay.
Sorry to be so graphic. I am extremely tired. But I just like that there's little seasonings of little influences throughout this album.
Sure.
It's truly unique album anyway.
Yeah, definitely is.
But yeah, I mean, Oh My is a good song. It's probably one of the best on here.
Yeah, it's nice.
Ride, track number 11. So this is one of my least favorite songs on here. This is top 3 least favorite, I think. It's only because of the drums, and it just takes me out because I've heard those kind of drums forever in any generic, like, crappy R&B or even the good R&Bs. Like, there's just something about the drums. I can't think about the exact thing that does me in, but I can just hear it, and I'm like, I don't like it, and it drives me mad.
I don't like it.
Like, my wife put on, oh my gosh, Yo by Chris Brown the other day, so one of his first tracks, and there's like this Excuse Me Miss, that's the one.
Yeah.
So there's this little bit in the chorus where you can just hear the drums go like that.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that part.
And this is what it reminded me of, and it makes my blood boil. I hate drums like that. Give me live drums. Like,
I need to listen to it and remind myself what it's at. Especially on this song, I don't remember anything like that. But then again, I don't have that same distaste for that particular thing that you do. Although, Excuse Me Miss is from like the 2000s, and I remember last week talking about that 2000s kind of production.
Yeah.
It doesn't sit well with me anymore. It actually does annoy me sometimes when I hear it, like the separation between the kick and the snares, and it's really nerdy music shit, but it sounds like it's been made by someone. That makes sense, as opposed to not in an artsy way, sometimes just in an amateur way. And that could just be because of the progression of music at that time in terms of that. Whereas, like, if you listen to a beat like a 90s beat like New York State of Mind by Nas, so that Primo beat, the drums sound like they're part of one set.
Yeah, it sounds like it belongs, basically.
They all sound like they belong, compared to some of the 2000s R&B where you have this big cushiony kind of kick, the boom, or the and these big, like, wet claps. Squelchy claps. I fucking hate them.
Oh my goodness.
Hate them.
And when you get like horrible crash cymbals, like, they're so tinny. Where's the depth?
Oh yeah.
Don't give me tin. I've got plenty of tins in my flipping cupboard. Like, honestly,
I could shake them about if I wanted to. Like,
in all fairness, it's just something that took me out on this tune, boy. I was just like, I'm not having it. Bag Up, track 12. I mean, I just put she suits harder beats, and she's really, really good. I do love the lyric where she says, "I'll be on top in a Casa Loma. See this top that's Fashion Nova. See this song, I'm the master owner." And at that point, when she says that, I'm like, you have my full support. I'm with you. And I think she's outlining the industry right there.
Mm-hmm.
She's outlining what artists need to do right there. I am the master owner.
100%.
And it's almost a double entendre, like she owns the slave masters as well.
Yeah. Not just her own masters, but like the actual people oppressing her. Yeah, she's in control.
I was just like, thank you very much. You, lady, I am on your team. I am Team Haviah Mighty. I really am. I think I really do. However, as I said at the top of the album, top of the episode, sorry, I don't know if I love this album. I don't know. So I need time. With it. And the last track is Kiss It. Now, I've heard this song before. Don't know how. Don't know where. As soon as it came on, I was like, I know this song. And I don't know why.
Interesting.
I like how on one level it's very much sex talk.
Yeah.
But I think it's a double entendre. Again,
I wouldn't put it past her, especially as the outro song to this album.
Yeah. So I was like, why would you end on this, for fuck's sake?
Yeah.
What are you doing? You're undoing all your, like, genuinely, I was like, this might be getting a 5 out of 10 for this. Nearly unforgivable. However,
just for that.
Oh, hang on a minute. I've just realised that it's just gotten dark, and
it has. Yeah,
it's just gotten dark, and I'm sitting in the darkness. Oh, you think darkness is your ally? You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it. Anyway, right, I'm sitting down now. So yeah, I think. Sorry. Yeah, I've put notes here, right? Like halfway through listening to it in like real time, and I'm like, I don't think this is the best song to close to. But then I've put like, I like the fact that there's something after this song, and then it could be a veiled fuck you to everybody. So it instead of it being a sex song, I think it's her basically sticking it to the man almost, like saying like, you know, I will fuck you when I want to. I'm not in this music business for your pleasure. I'm in it for mine. And I'm like, hold on, is this more meta stuff that's going on? Because especially at the end where it says, you know, people, you know, mothers passing on not reading to their sons, and then their sons will pass down, well, you don't need to read. I didn't need to read to their kids. And generational sort of, generational kind of,
like ignorance and
disadvantage and ignorance, is being propagated. Whereas where her attitude maybe is that, well, hang on a minute, I see that, and it's not right, and fuck all of you. I'm gonna take all the education. I'm gonna get all the rhymes and all the best shit. I am the master owner. I am gonna be in control of my destiny, and I think that is a mighty fine way to end the album. And I was like, you know what, girl. You done it. You done it.
You did it.
You know?
Okay. Interesting. I actually had no idea how this was going to go for this particular album because of the kind of where it sits, both content-wise, but also production-wise and everything. I thought it's like content-wise, up your alley for a lot of stuff, but then there's certain production choices in there. There's certain ways certain things were conveyed that I thought, okay, I wonder how he'll vibe with this particular type of album. So yeah, I mean, I was surprised when you said, "Oh, I don't know about this album fully" at first, but the more we've spoken about it, the more I understand. Yeah, of course, that makes sense to me. This is it's not like I've given you a Rhapsody album, which I would then be surprised if you said, "Oh, I don't know about this one." Do you know what I mean? It feels more like, this one's a bit more contentious for you, at least. For me, I love the shit. What's your rating? What's your top 5?
Oh man, top 5, 13 in particular. Oh wow, hang on. I haven't even marked my top 5 because I just. All right, it'll be in women color. I think Waves.
Yeah.
13. Smoke. Oh shit. And Kiss It, actually.
Kiss It. Okay,
Just
interesting.
for the double entendres. I honestly, the more I'm talking about it, the more I'm like, actually, no, that's what it is. It's got to be that.
Yeah.
And I think it's incredibly smart.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to like the flow of the album and all that, like I think it's put together really well. I think it's very,
100%.
very good. Well thought out artistic venture. I think that this is great. Production value is obviously, I mean, if you're going to be releasing music in 2010 onwards, you got to be making it sound lit because you want it 100%. To sound lit for good. So this music sounds excellent. I've got to say that this is, I don't know. I'll give it a 7 out of 10.
I knew you were going to give it a 7.
I'll give it a 7 because I was going to give it a 6.5, but I thought that's harsh.
Yeah, it feels like a 7. That's the number I had in my head.
It's a 7. I think that it'll be all right.
For you, I imagined you giving it a 7.
Yeah.
So yeah,
the uninitiated.
Nice. But yeah, shout out to Haviah Mighty.
She's excellent, man.
It's a great project, and she's been dropping some singles.
I know
this year, and I think towards the end of last year as well, which have all just hit hard. And I think she didn't she say in the first song she said part Bayesian, part something else, part UK or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, cool. And because I think I said last week when I mentioned her, she jumped on a kind of drill, like UK kind of drill type beat with an artist called Yizzy from the UK scene, who's sick as well. And she sounded so good over that. So I can see where that connection comes in. Only when I listen back to it today, I noticed that. I mean, I noticed it before because I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like you've got a UK, I don't know, I get that vibe from her. Maybe that's why she was this support act on the London tour for Duckworth as well. I don't know. But I didn't know she was the support act for that show as well. I'm glad that I happened to have just known about her and listened to her album independently. Not like, oh, she's the support act, let's check her out. I just happened to have heard about her, listened to the album, been really into it, actually known the songs. So then when she performed, I was like, I know this shit. I was telling my mate, I was like, I know who this is, man. I know this. This is a good tune. This is a good tune. Yeah, this is a sick tune. He went and listened to the album afterwards as well because he was like really blown away by her stage presence and everything like that. And yeah, she was sick, man. But yeah, shout to Haviah Mighty. Yeah, calm. So that was quite a tangent heavy one.
Yeah, but we went to where the music took us.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. I really like that.
Which is what you can ask for.
Indeed. So next week I am going to give you Add to the MC's album, which I love, called Jim Crow the Musical, and I know you want to listen to it. So
I've been holding out until you gave this one to me. So
yeah, let's pull the plaster off, man. I think next week, I think that will be a very. I think that's going to be a long.
Loki all over again, isn't it?
I think so. It is.
Yeah.
Heavy. So I'm going to be making notes at some point in the next few days on it.
Yeah.
Like as if this was my exchange
or something. Yeah. Oh right. Yeah. Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
We need to do it justice. I think to be honest, I think it's a masterpiece. And anybody that disagrees is a fool. So yeah.
Okay. I'm looking forward to that.
Brilliant.
Sick. All right, David, do your thing.
Listen, man, short and sweet. Yeah. Thank you, listeners, old and new, for vibing with us and listening to us again chop it up about a really, really good album. We'll be on the socials as per usual. Yeah. And look, man, just hope you're all hanging in there. You know, we're all we've got, and we just extend blessings to all of you. So, in traditional KaeDee exchange style, we will be bidding you adieu Until next time.
Peace.
Peace. And I think we nailed that one.